Next, we have Deborah Masters, who's the Executive Director of Abuse Alternatives Incorporated. Is Deborah here? Good. Come right up.
Well, good morning, and let me make a small correction. I am Deborah Masters, called Debbie. I am not Kathy Johnson, who is the Executive Director of Abuse Alternatives, but Kathy could not be here, so she asked me to come in her place. I am the Community Educator with Abuse Alternatives. We are a domestic violence intervention.
Debbie,
I'm sorry,
pull it down.
Yeah. I'm sorry, and I'm so short, I have to always pull things down. We are a domestic violence intervention agency located in Bristol, Tennessee, and poor Bill, I tend to rattle on and get distracted and forget about the PowerPoint. Also, I'm going to ask you to watch my time because I don't want to infringe on anyone else's time, and I tend to go on and on. Anyway, we've been in existence for 33 years. We started as a grassroots response in the Bristol, Tennessee area because domestic violence victims were not being assisted in any way. They'll go ahead. We started out with without any employees, just a really strong volunteer workforce and a $13,000 budget, and someone donated a home in the Bristol, Tennessee area for us to house our facility. The next one, our current operating budget is almost $503,000. That pays for, well, we receive that, our monies from a lot of grants. United Way is a big one. Donations, fundraising, program fees, which unfortunately do not amount to a whole lot, local government grants as well, foundations, and I will have to say that the economy has, definitely, the downturn has adversely affected our bottom line. We are not getting in the donations that we would like to see, although we are still, we're still getting quite a few donations, but we're just not doing quite as well as we once were. So that has affected our bottom line for sure. We added children's programming in 1987. We either hire a teacher or a social worker. Currently, Katie is a social worker, and she works with the children who are in the shelter. And since I've been with the agency, which is not a terribly long time, there have always been children there. And of course, they need transportation, they need programming, things to keep them busy. So Katie is in charge of all of that. The next one, we changed our name in 1987 to Abuse Alternatives. The next one, please. We started in 1990 with the Men's Intervention Program. We tried to work with the men on challenging their values regarding women, trying to help them be better role models as men and also in the community, and also work with anger management. Also, we started a women's intervention program not long after that, and as a result, we changed the name to the Batterers Intervention Program because it incorporates both men's programming and women's programming. We currently offer 9 men's programs per week and 2 women. So that shows you another big discrepancy between the services provided for men, the number of men that we are providing services to through the BIP program versus the number of women batterers we're providing services to. The next slide, please. The current cost of the BIP, or the Batterers Intervention Program, is over $93,000, and that's 20% of our total agency budget. That is for the salary of the coordinator, the salary of the facilitator, and any of the materials that are used. Next, please. The BIP coordinator had 150 intakes in the, I believe it was the 2012-2013 fiscal year. We operate, well, this is the next slide, but we operate in the red because we, I think we take in, what is it? The total fees are over $26,000, and the coordinator's salary alone is $30,000. We charge, I believe it's $625 per participant participant in the BIP program. So as a result, we are having to pay for a lot more services than we are actually taking in money. So we are losing money there, and that's a huge part of our program. We added outreach programming in 1995. We established, because there were so many women who were in need of our services in the Washington, Virginia area, Upper Sullivan County area, and we decided to provide outreach programming so that these ladies would not have to travel to Bristol, Tennessee for services. So we have a satellite office there, full-time employee there. She served 225 victims during the past year, and rent alone is $6,000 for that facility, and that does not include any of her supplies, transportation, any utilities, that sort of thing. In 1997, the next slide please, the volunteer coordinator position was added. We've gone through some transition there with having a part-time volunteer coordinator and a part-time community educator. Then we tried combining the two into one position. Right now, the volunteer coordinator is a part-time position. She has a huge job because we do have quite a few volunteers, and so she recruits volunteers. There's a long, I think it's like 40 hours training session for all the volunteers, regardless of what kind of services they may provide. So that's quite a bit of an investment. And then she determines how to best utilize those volunteers. They can do anything from helping with classes, cleaning out storage closets, painting in the shelter, landscaping, just a whole host of computer skills, just whatever a volunteer wants to do and can do. We can find a place either in the main office or the shelter or the outreach office for those volunteers. The next one, please. I guess I got kind of past myself. We received, it should be 2012, 2013, 3,301 hours of volunteer service. And by law, we can charge, we can show on paper $5 an hour for volunteer service. So that came to $16,507.50 if we were actually paying $5 per hour for volunteer labor. The community educator, that's who I am, was first hired in 2003. I'm a part-time employee, which works out just perfectly for me. I provide awareness to the community in just about any form that anybody wants. I'm a former teacher, a special ed teacher, stayed home for quite a while, did a lot of nonprofit work, and I'm now combining the two, teaching and nonprofit, which is I love it. So I will make presentations to anybody within our area who wants a presentation, from bullying to domestic violence 101, healthcare providers, law enforcement, churches, schools. I can have sometimes off the wall requests, but that's okay. I'll come up with something and bring it, because I just want to get out the message about domestic violence, the services we provide, the impact on the community, what other people can do. Also, I work with a lot of kids who are on probation and also detention, kids who are in detention centers, trying to help them avoid being in an abusive relationship as well as avoid becoming an abuser. That's a big, big part of what I do, because, of course, the teaching really comes in big there. Just this year, in May, we added a Bristol, Virginia outreach coordinator, and she provides the same services in just the Bristol, Virginia area that the coordinator in Washington County does. That's a lot of court advocacy, a lot of client assistance. They refer to the shelter. My office, by the way, is in the shelter, which is I just want to mention this for anybody in the future who's looking at establishing programs. It's a wonderful idea because I get to know the clients. I offer client classes in positive coping skills, in domestic violence, in career building. I also will take suggestions from them. They want a bullying class, like parents who are being bullied by their young adult children. So they're trading domestic violence from their partner to domestic violence by their adult child. So they would really like some information on that. And also warning signs of abuse. I really try to meet the needs of the clients who are there at the time. And of course, I'm getting back to myself. Sorry. A big focus that we have at Abuse Alternatives is providing emergency shelter to victims of domestic violence. I think we currently have 11 people in shelter, including women and children, so we are at capacity and have been pretty much for quite some time. There was a little bit of a lull, but just a short one. And I think we have about 4 children and 7 women. We even occasionally will get a call from a male, whom of course we cannot house at the shelter, but we will provide a limited amount of time in a local motel for a male victim, and they give us a good discounted rate. We try to encourage the women who come into shelter to look for jobs. We will assist with that. We provide mental health therapy if they need it. I teach classes. We provide transportation. We have a support group with a local licensed counselor who does not charge the agency for her services. We help them find housing because so many of these women are coming to us with nothing. They have made this decision to finally leave, and they come to us without anything.
Deborah, I think we are going to have to call time. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Because we are now running behind, but I do have a couple of questions for you. That's okay. Is your shelter location known?
No, it's not publicized.
Okay. I wondered when you said your office was there, it made me wonder about maybe that I didn't understand about what kind of shelter it was. What is your opinion of the success of your batterer program?
Now, I've only been with the agency 3 months, and I kind of hit the ground running, so I'm not as familiar with the BIP program. Apparently, she is seeing some success. We've talked a little bit about it. She is seeing some success. She's not seeing as much recidivism, repeat offenders. She seems to feel pretty good about her numbers, and of course, always seems to keep a full load.
And this is sort of something I haven't heard before, and I guess we'd be interested in maybe finding out who that person is and getting in touch with her another time to talk about that particular program a little bit.